at the claims that Mr. Marcos had made in his biographies. See, the work of a historian is you look at claims and then you trace the original, the data from the archives. So that's what we did. Archives here being primary sources that were created during the period. It's contemporaneity of sources. And these documents would be records that are contained in the U.S. National Archives and Record Administration relating to the war, produced during the period of the war. So, of course, in his biographies, Mr. Marcos says that he received medals. But interestingly, one of the documents we found in the war archives was a circa 1945 document. No date, no author, but appears to have been Mr. Marcos himself because he speaks about himself in the third person, except when he gets to one page. And then it slips and he says I in the entire paragraph. That goes back to the third person. That particular document is a history of Ang Mga Maharlika, in which the author claims that Mr. Marcos was conferred the Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star, and the Order of the Purple Heart. So that was the first thing we looked at. Of course, the second had to do with his unit, Ang Mga Maharlika, a guerrilla unit that Major Marcos claimed he had founded in December of 1942, as early as then.
And did you do this study way before the campaign promise of President Duterte? Or?
No, frankly, we started in May. Yes, we started about May. And then, but you know, the process here in the commission is the original draft goes through many things before it goes to the board. And then I have a board that consists of, we're 5 historians by law. And if you've worked with historians, every page, paragraph by paragraph, line by line, check this footnote, add this, rephrase this, why don't you? So it went through that process. And then many more circulations of drafts until the board said, okay to go. And we sent the study along with a letter to President Duterte on July 12th.
Also, this has been, I presume, read by the office of the President.
I hope so.
And did they get back to you? Was there any feedback?
No, unfortunately, nothing. No reply, no call, nothing. So when we sent it on July 12th, and nothing, so we said we might as well share the study with the public. We uploaded it the other Friday, August 5 there. But the letter, of course, remains with the President. We have not released that letter. That's his. And maybe I should explain to our listeners, you know, the NHCP has several legal functions under the charter that created the commission. No? Of course, the first is to undertake studies of history and disseminate. Disseminate means we can publish on print, we can publish online. We also disseminate through our museums, through historical markers, declarations of national historical landmark. There are many formats that we use to disseminate knowledge about Philippine history. The second is, among others, to resolve historical controversies. And then the third, as chairperson of the commission, to advise the President and Congress on historical matters. So it was in that light that we wrote the President, and we explained these were the provisions of the law creating the commission, and it was in that spirit that we undertook the study and gave him a copy.
And then you said in the study that it was limited only to Marcos's record as a soldier.
Yes.
Why not as a president?
Well, originally kasi during the campaign, then candidate Duterte explained that he wanted to bury Mr. Marcos in Libingan ng mga Bayani because he was a president. In fact, sa tingin niya, the greatest president of the land. No? And then binawi niya to. He said, after he won, he said, gusto ko siyang ilibing doon. But as a soldier, period. Because he recognized that, sabi niya, kung ayaw ng iba, meaning ayaw yung question as a presidential, the best president ever, no? And so when we started the study, it was after that statement had been made. So when we met with the board decided, let's just focus on Mr. Marcos's record as a soldier. So that was the focus of the entire study.
So, as a historian, what is the effect of burying Marcos in Libingan ng mga Bayani? what does it do to us, maybe as a nation, or do we have a collective memory that is violated? And maybe you can talk to us about
Yes.
that.
You know, well, maybe what we wanted to be sure about, no? When you confer historical recognition of any sort upon anyone or an event, the significance, the impact has to be demonstrable and of course positive. I mean, we're not going to honor things that would not be a good example to people. So when we were looking at the war records, that is where we discovered that many things that were claimed turned out not to be so. And you know, in history, when a claim is made that is disproven, historians don't accept the claim. Now, if there are questions surrounding any given claim, we do not use that claim as a basis for giving historical recognition, because there are questions or doubts. As historians, the evidence must be unassailable, it must be solid, it must be sound. And if it doesn't possess these characteristics, then you withhold any such recognition until these questions or doubts might be resolved. I say that because we were surprised by the language used in the war records by American soldiers. Some questioned the authenticity of the guerrilla, the mga Maharlika. Some said it was fraudulent. There were also comments about questions, even doubts about the leadership of Mr. Marcos of that very unit when it was founded. This is why the United States government never recognized ang mga Maharlika, because there were doubts. Yet they recognized other Filipino guerrilla units, but they didn't recognize this one. So when we came across the record, which was quite overwhelming, we said, you know, it's not sound practice, I mean, historically anyway, to take such action because of so many, well, if you, the statements were rather damaging. But if you don't trust the statements, then they do raise doubts or questions, in which case, they're not sound.
Yeah, but
you don't.
All these are in your documentation.
Yes,
Yeah,
we even have facsimiles of the sources, in which we highlighted the statements that were made by these different echelons of the military, American military. We listed them all and we presented them in the study. I don't know when these documents were declassified. Frankly, I don't know, but they are readily available at the website of PVAU. Yes,
Here in a
yes, of
Philippine
course.
website.
Yes, they are archival records that belong to the U.S. National Archives and Records Administration, NARA. Then PVAU was able to get permission from the U.S. that NARA, office in the U.S. They were able to obtain digital copies. And so PVAU put them up on their website. What we examined were 2 boxes of documents that related first to the mga Maharlika, and second is the Alias Intelligence Unit, which was founded by guerrilla Cipriano Alias. He became a congressman after the war. Alias Intelligence Unit claimed to be the intelligence arm of ang mga Maharlika. So if you read both boxes of documents, then you will find references to ang mga Maharlika, even in the Alias Intelligence Unit.
We've had these documents for the longest
Well,
time.
frankly, I don't know when PVAU exactly uploaded them, kasi I don't recall when they posted it. But it's open access to the public. That's why in our study we listed every source that we use so the public can check.
So through the years after
Yes.
the Marcoses left in
Yes.
1986,
Yes.
have we seen a restoration of their reputation? Because apparently now the public is divided on the burial
Yes.
of Marcos in libingan ng mga
Yeah.
bayani.
Actually, what's interesting is after 86, there were already some studies, but articles, news articles, I think the New York Times, others they came about. But you know, as historians, kasi we would consider them secondary sources because they are reports of based on archival. What we wanted to see were the actual archives, which thankfully are available now. Otherwise, you would have to fly to the US to gain access. Now they're available, so that's what we use. There is, of course, concern that maybe our history is being rewritten or might be rewritten by, burying Mr. Marcos in a cemetery that holds the name Hero.